Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Transcendence tier feature match pre-show. I am your host, Mr. Yeti. Joining me tonight, I have Captain Jack and Booth. We're excited to break down the action for tonight's Transcendence tier feature match between the Ghostly Peppers and Capraphobia. Let's start us off here. Captain Jack, tell us a little bit about the Ghostly Peppers.
All right. So Ghostly Peppers were founded in May of 2020 for the Spicy Inc. org. They were looking to participate in season 5, but things kind of faltered, and now they're back better than ever. You might as well just see the Ghostly Peppers as the reskinned Heckin' Habaneros from season 5. Everyone that was there on the Heckin' Habs have now moved their way up from Discord to Transcendence tier. They were the Discord tier champs during season 5 as well. So they're looking to make some big moves going into the season. They told me a little bit about their matchup in the preseason against the Whirlwind Wildcats. They were literally just brainstorming strats throughout the entire match. Like they weren't going in with any kind of expectations. They were looking to have fun. They ran some really silly comps and it really paid off for them. So they're looking forward to have a lot of fun with Capraphobia.
All right. And Booth, tell us a little bit about that team, Capraphobia. We haven't seen him yet. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about him.
Yeah, so new team on paper, but if you kind of look through at a lot of the players, originally this was supposed to be Primal, kind of reworked from last season, but ended up having some differences in the preseason. Only about 2 players still remain from their preseason roster. Like I said, they
Mhm.
didn't take place in the tournament. Um, but it's a lot of names, even though it said only 2 players from the roster. You look at the list, and if you've been in Tranquility for any amount of time, these are names you know and have heard of.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
they've a couple people playing on a little bit of different roles so they can stay here in the Transcendence tier because they've gone above SR caps on a few of theirs. So a couple players that are role locked, but um, even though it's a new team, this is all people familiar with each other too. I mean, a lot of the people were playing in previous seasons. It's kind of like those parent sister teams, so they were still screaming
Mhm.
together and doing in-house pugs with each other. So it's not like it's a bunch of people that just came off a Reddit post and jumped in. Um, but yeah, they're excited. They're happy with the new branding. I think the new branding looks pretty cool. But they're excited for the season, and this is going to be an interesting look coming in because they're one of the lower SR teams on paper. But I mean, some of these players haven't played competitive as much, lower SR than they normally would be. Getting
Mhm.
back into the game again, so definitely not a team where that SR is going to in any way showcase their talent and skills.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about some of these players on these teams. Captain
Mhm.
Jack, who's a
Mhm.
standout player, an MVP, if you had to look at the Ghostly Peppers?
All right. So MVP coming from the captain themselves, Chumanzi, had to give it to Needle. Best Brig Lucio in the tier. Just an absolute great in-game leader. They're actually co-shot callers on the team. So Chim and a Needle obviously do a great casting duo, do the same exact thing when they're playing together. They just kind of play off of each other, and the whole team just kind of follows suit with them. So Needle's a really big part, a very essential enabler for the team, always being sure to make sure those ultimates are always online in the nick of time, doing that alt tracking, everything that the team needs. Needles got it on lock.
All right. Booth, tell us a little bit about the MVP for Caprophobia.
So for Capraphobia, it's a new player, Lils, who's just joined the team. Very new for them. Um, Says she's one of the incredible leader. Really is one of the stand-up people on the team that they really look to when things aren't going well. When they need a little boost on things. And I thought it was interesting. They said that not only is she fantastic at alt tracking, but is also a shot caller for the team. And you
Mhm.
don't really get to hear that from main support role doing all of that. Normally, you're relying on your tanks for that. So having someone that's able to do that for your team has to be crazy beneficial. I always like when somebody can kind of do each one of those little bit of roles. They're always the person you're looking up to. They know they're going to be there for you, and that's the person really to look out with here on the team.
All right. Let's talk about some of those other players on these teams. Who's kind of this workhorse type player, that player who is invaluable to the team's overall success? For the Ghostly Peppers, Captain Jack, who stands out to you?
All right. Well, I couldn't pick one because again, as I said earlier, they're kind of a duo together, and it has to go to Chimonzi and Needle. Watching those two work together, whether it be casting or whether playing together. When we saw that preseason match, they said they were just kind of goofing and creating strats as they go, but they were effective.
Mm-hmm.
They're an incredibly powerful duo, and to say that one is doing more than the other, I feel would bring disjustice to the Ghostly Peppers. So I got to put them both out there.
All right, Booth, what about Caprophobia? Who stands out in that role?
So for the workhorse, I think Fulgen, their flex support, is kind of the name I would first go to. So again, another name you've heard about here in Tranquility has been around for a while, and they're telling me that that they're really the person that's always thinking about the extremes going into fights. They're playing devil's advocate. If we use this here, are we going to be able to protect for this? So kind of helping work around with Lils with their shot calling and alt tracking in that sense. Especially when you have a support line that can work together like that, that's huge for your team. You don't have to have your DPS worrying about it. You can call those out and let them focus on things. You let your tanks focus together. That's a pretty special thing to have on a team, especially both coming out of the support line.
Absolutely. Who's an underrated player on these teams? Start with you, Captain Jack. Tell us about Ghostly Pepper's most underrated player.
All right. Well, you hate to find one in the middle of the night when you're walking to the bathroom, and that's Legolas. Legolas is obviously an incredible support player. That Bap, that Zen, that Ana, just always on point. And for the team, that's their PMA, their big old positive mental attitude support. Legolas always throwing out the jokes, being super funny during the match, lifting the spirits of the team when it seems like things are going dire. They're an absolutely amazing teammate and player, and they make sure that even though they don't make the biggest plays, they support those that do.
All right, and Booth, let's go to Capraphobia, most underrated player.
So for that, I'm going to go with Greek, the off tank, which is a pretty good thing to have an underrated off tank right now. And there's so much variability going on. I mean, Sigma's always been really important, but they're saying that Greek's incredibly consistent on all off tanks. So that's something you can't undervalue right now at all. Pillars on their team, always offering support, being again probably dealing with the alt tracking, shot calling, which I love when I hear that all of them are able to do this on their team and they can split the responsibilities like this. So if somebody's not having the best night with it, someone else can just fill the shoes in right away, and Greek's offering that for them.
All right, really quick here then, guys. Predictions for this match tonight. Who comes out on top between Ghostly Peppers and Capraphobia? Captain Jack.
I'm big for the underdog, but I gotta give it to Ghostly Peppers 4-0. It is the first week of the season. Ghostly Peppers looking really hot in the preseason, but I'm kind of secretly holding out for Capraphobia. I want to see if maybe there's an upset, but I'm going with the 4-0 for Ghostly Peppers.
All right, and Booth, do you see an upset in the wings? Can Capraphobia upset the preseason champs?
I wish they could, but I don't know if they have it ready yet. Ghostly Peppers has been playing together all preseason. They played together last season. Capraphobia is still pretty new altogether. I think maybe the kinks aren't worked out yet, and I got Ghostly Peppers taking it 3-1.
If the predictions were all it was about, then this has been a pretty boring match. But hey, This is why we play the matches, guys. Coming at you here in just a few minutes in Transcendence tier feature match action. The Ghostly Peppers taking on Capraphobia. That'll be with you here in just a few moments.
Okay, getting the first pick. Oh, get three, Pyro, get three with the
Wade Kid putting on a clinic.
Whole team's down. Oh!
Experience tranquility.
Good evening, Tranquility family, and welcome back to week 1 of the Overwatch Tranquility Tournament. Tonight in the Transcendence tier, we have Ghostly Peppers versus Capraphobia. Will Ghostly Peppers just be too hot to handle, or does my theory hold true, and Capraphobia is secretly the true GOAT? We're about to find out. I'm Captain Jack, and I'll be your analyst for tonight's match, along with new caster to the Trank scene, Kilo Miles, on play-by-play, and the man, the myth, the legend, the closest duplicate to Papa Jeff Kaplan you can get. That's Mr. Booth on production. Welcome to the Trank fam, Kilo. How have you enjoyed your stay with us so far?
Oh, it has been fantastic. I've certainly been embraced by Tranquility with open arms, but I'm looking forward to this match tonight, Jack, because it is some heavy hitters. We got the former champion of the current champion of the preseason league, which is a lot to live up to. But they do certainly have a formidable challenger ahead of them.
Yes, Capraphobia, if you didn't know, folks, is made up of last season's Transcendence team, which was coming from the who are they coming from again? There we go. From Primal. That's it. Primal. So this is part of season 5 Primal, along with some brand new members to the team. So we know some familiar faces on here. If you look at the roster coming in, we know Delphi, we know Pro Gamer, but some of these other ones we're gonna have to look out for and kind of see, who's gonna be the names that are really gonna pop up on top. And of course, Ghostly Peppers, you know them, you love them. They're part of a great org, pretty much a duplicate of season 5's Heckin' Habaneros. You got Chimanzi, Mr. Trippy Cow, Karev, Waffle Man, Legolots, and Needle. Those are all big Trank names, and as we were saying, they had a great showing during the preseason, being able to beat out Whirlwind Wildcats, the new aerial felines team for the Transcendence tier. So I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a really good matchup between these two teams. It's definitely not. Well, I won't say definitely not. I hope it's not a complete shutout in one direction.
Well, you never hope to see that because it's always more entertaining to see it go down to the wire. But speaking of former synergy, Ghostly Pepper is obviously, like you said, a household name here in Tranquility. But Capraphobia, they do have, like you said, returning members, but specifically Delphi and Pro Gamer. They're tank partners. You want to get those duos together, keep them together, and that's exactly what they did. So even if they are a little shaky going up against such a coordinated lineup in Ghostly Peppers, they certainly have a foundation to build upon going into the season.
Oh, absolutely. And that's really going to pay off for them as we get ready to go into our first map, folks. So go ahead, start blowing up that chat, letting us know who you all feel are going to be the victors tonight. Are Ghostly Peppers going to take it and continue their preseason streak, or are Capraphobia going to shut them down real quick, nice, and fast here in week 1? As we talked about yesterday, all the first maps are decided for everyone in every tier to start off, trying to keep it a little even keel for everyone. And we're heading to Helios for our first map of the evening.
And I gotta confess, Jack, my personal favorite map right here. Mostly because the aesthetic, the gameplay can be a little iffy at times, but I know these teams are gonna make it pop as we start out on Lighthouse.
Yes, Lighthouse is a great map to be using all sorts of different combinations. The meta that we've kind of seen up at this tier has involved a lot of ball Sigma, so kind of using the ball to disrupt the enemy backline and then using the Sigma and the rest of the team to kind of pincer in from multiple directions and encapsulate the team. But other ways that we've seen this these new metas kind of flex in is just the ball dive, either choosing the Diva or the Winston to be able to follow up on picks when the big slams come in. And it looks like we're going to be seeing something like that coming out from either side. For Capraphobia, they're opting for the Ball Diva, where we're going to see, it looks like the Orisa Ball coming out from the side of Ghostly Peppers. I think they got something in the pocket that we don't know about.
Yeah, a bit more of an anchored composition right here. You got the McCree, Torbjorn as well, Brigitte and Baptiste. They are anchored in place, but with the raining down percussion fire from above, it's going to be difficult to get in there. Jajonis, though, is going to be focused down by that turret. They have to play the sightlines pretty carefully, but here comes the boot. Delphi coming in, but they're immediately stunned up. The double CC right there, and yet they still found a pick. That was like an out off of the edge, and that could be detrimental, as already Capraphobia has a pretty strong hold on the point. Delphi's early pick is paying dividends.
Well, the biggest issue that we saw at the beginning of this fight is just seeing where the bunker's set up. That's a great place to get started, but without the Lucio to kind of engage on the objective, it was really difficult for them to get those initial picks. As you see, Karev is following up with a couple of picks of their own, but it's kind of already too late. We see the percentage start to climb.
Yeah, it seemed like they were hoping they could get enough early picks that they could just send 1 or 2 members onto the point, but as they hold this high ground, they need to find a way to get off of the high ground. They're building up to ultimates for sure, but I'm not sure if any of them are clear fight winners. Maybe just getting 1 or 2 picks will be enough for them.
All right, we're already seeing the Torbjorn there on the low ground trying to contest all these dive characters, and it looks like the bunker is swapping in as well. Big old dynamite.
That will be a lot of ult percentage. Bob will be out to play soon enough, but not quite there to rely on yet, as that Molten Core gets thrown down on the point by Ghostly Peppers. And they have so much zoning control. They're finally getting that engage in, and yet, right when they're ready to hop on the point, Capraphobia says, okay, we'll just hop on out and fire at you from the outside. And they're trading back and forth right now, but Ghostly Peppers is getting the edge eventually. But this is not going to be a solid take if they get it, and they do. The minefield helps them cinch it, and yet they're all trapped on the point in the back.
Yeah, they're definitely in a weird position. Jay Jonas on that Echo is making their lives a living heck, and I think the only reason that they ended up taking that was just because Jonas ended up grabbing the McCree instead of a more tanky character to get those ultimates in.
And that could come back to bite them as they're waiting for those respawns, and already Jonas, that Echo beat, it's so strong, burning through any half-health heroes, and that'll be a quick retake from Capraphobia.
Capraphobia is holding really strong right here, and it seems to be the biggest issue is just the speed of both compositions. You know, the bunker is great if you can get in and get settled down and be able to stun anybody that's coming your way, but once you get reset like this, very similar to what we see from the pirate ship on our escort maps, trying to get that bastion set back up is always a huge challenge.
And speaking of getting set back up, Ghostly Peppers has returned right to where we saw them before on that high ground, but it's paying off a little bit more this time. Is already getting 2 picks with those hit scans. Jonas is going to duplicate up that Orisa just to give their team more staying power on the point as they try and hold on until 99%. That high noon, though, forces everyone from Capraphobia into the corner. That Zenyatta going to get blown up, and that's the last of the defense. The Supercharger is going to be nice to look at, but if there's no one to use it, who cares? But the recontest is coming in. Jonas is getting the kills now that they're out of that Orisa form. The immortality field thrown down, and Orisa is golden, and yet that is still not enough. The fortification ends, and they have to drop the minefield. Ghostly Peppers committing everything, because this is their last chance to stay in this round.
There we go. Control going back over to the Ghostly Peppers right there. And it was a long, drawn-out fight. It was exactly what you were saying, Kilo. The speed at which Capraphobia is moving right now is just a lot for Ghostly Peppers to handle, and they had to invest just about everything they had to keep it going. With only the bongos online for this next fight, it's going to make it incredibly difficult for them not only to hold on and fortify on the objective, especially now that we see pro gamers swapping over to the Pharah. It's going to be hard for them to hold on without that tank either.
Yeah, these are some significant picks right here, but again, they're traded back. You can't get a clean fight win against Capraphobia. They're always going to steal 1 or 2, and that is not what you want to see already. Both minefields committed. I'm impressed that Chimizan already had another minefield right there. Yet here they are. So many wrecking balls on the point. The duplication's really adding into the chaos. But this goes off the edge. That Mercy going there, not optimal for holding on to this point. And as the amplification matrix rests in the back of the point, it's going to let Ghostly Peppers get another recap.
Right. Yeah, Chimanzi on that ball has been doing an incredible job of just zoning out a lot of space, and it looks like Trippy is going to follow suit and opt in for the dive, with Needle swapping over to the Lucio as well. As we head into final fight territory, let's hope that their dive can keep up with what's been coming out from Capraphobia.
Yeah, it has been kind of brutal right now, but this Forest swap, it is a little interesting. The barrage is coming in soon enough, but it's 99 to 99 already. Those 6 bombs up on top are going to get rid of Doomfist, and now the bomb onto the point is going to buy a lot of space for Capraphobia to engage. Able to remix safe and sound, but that might be all you've got. Capraphobia playing it safe, playing it secure, and yet these kills are not coming in fast enough because the Tracer's burst damage is huge. It's going to pin down any stragglers in an overtime situation. Capraphobia, even though they had the upper hand for so long, they weren't able to regain it when it mattered most. Even knocked out a mech, not able to survive, and that barrage, it's kind of futile, not really going to get the kills they want. Pro Gamer not escaping with their life, and Ghostly Peppers, even with a rough start, they're going to go up 1-0 on Ilios.
That was a great way to start things off right there, and it seems like Ghostly Peppers might just be testing the waters against Capraphobia right here. You know, you saw the bunker was kind of having a difficult time holding on, but anytime they got root, they were able to hold on to the objective for a very good amount of time. And now as we head to the Ilios well, the biggest issue that you have is that big old hole in the middle of the map, and it just seems like everybody and their mom is choosing some kind of booping character to send people to their deaths through that big old hole.
And yet they do swap off of that Lucio. We're not going to see the famous wall ride impossible achievement, but right now I'm liking Ghostly Peppers as they're going to probably get to point first with this Wrecking Ball Tracer Echo composition, and the supports will be in soon enough. They've got so much damage with a Mercy's End, but it's kind of a glass cannon comp. Ghostly Peppers need to get kills quick or they're not going to last long.
Yeah, that's really what it's going to end up coming down to. Capraphobia already taking the flank right here, looking to see if they can lock down the objective through this side room, but without any stable characters to really hold on to the objective for long, it looks like Ghostly Peppers might also have a hard time getting in there, but they got it.
And the first pick is going to let them be a little more passive. Poke for picks instead of being pushed on, and yet they get pushed on themselves. You see Needlon going in for that res, and they're not going to be able to escape with their life as Jonas is there for the cleanup. Jonas on this Echo has been a menace this entire time, and now they are securing this point for their team. Just a discorded Wrecking Ball right there, and Shimazin is not going to last very much longer.
Yeah, that is going to be a rough one right there, but the first 20, almost 25% already for the Ghostly Peppers puts them in a really good positioning. The one part that I'm actually kind of surprised about is seeing Krevin Waffle not opting for any kind of hit scan to try to take out Jay Jonas, because, as you said, this Echo is an absolute menace.
But that pulse bomb might just equalize the lack of hit scan because they are working it. Now, we're going to get onto the team and help them finish off the rest of the stragglers, and that heat is not going to last very longer.
Needle popping out the Glock, getting into the action as well with that beautiful double kill at the end. As we see the percentage now going up to 40%. It's going to be interesting to see how Capraphobia decides to come in with Pro Gamer having that high noon ready to clock in.
And that high noon is going to do wonders to get that Echo out of the sky. Now Jonas doesn't have to work about any duels except for the one with Trippy as they've duplicated that Sigma. It's Sigma on Sigma now, and both have a grenade flux just about, and it's going to be Jonas pulling the trigger first. Get that Zen in the back, but the Transcendence going to come out, save their team from the brink of defeat, and now with the refilled health pools, Ghostly Peppers are ready to duel once again with a Gravitic Flux of their own, only catching a Hammond though. That's not going to be a lot to get rid of the team. You need more decisive damage, and Ghostly Peppers, they're finally getting just that. They're getting that damage they need to clear the point, and yet the percentage still builds for them.
Yeah, it just seems like right now they're having a difficult time locking down control on the Ghostly Peppers. You know, half the team is very dive, very speedy, and the other half is very bunkered. And as soon as the team starts diving in to get their bunkered portion, the rest of their dive is already wiped out the back line. Pro Gamer, though, able to get those initial picks might put them in a good position. That waste of the high noon is going to go ahead and lock down this objective again.
Another overtime situation, but this time not quite as favorable for Capraphobia. Even if they get a retake, there's no way they're coming back with this bank of ultimates as the cap goes out. Ghostly Peppers get the 2-0 on Ilios. And again, after a rough start, they're really showing why they are the favorites in this match.
Yeah, and it might just come down to synergy, to be completely honest with you. The biggest thing that you find as you move up the tiers is there's twofold. You have to look at the skill of the teammates that you've got on your team, as well as the synergy that they have together. If you have a whole bunch of players that are really good at the 1v1, that's not going to help you out when it's always a 1v6.
That's certainly the case, and we did see it was almost never a 6v6 because of these early picks that were constantly coming out from Ghostly Peppers. It seemed like every time I turned around, someone had just been caught by an ultimate, or even just a stray spattering of sticky bombs.
And it's, as we were talking about in the pregame show that you all have seen by now, it is definitely an interesting duel between those DPS for either side. Both Karev and Fooligan, I believe, are just absolutely top on that DPS list, trying to see if they can, or sorry, not Fooligan. Let me look at this one more time. I believe it was Jonas. They're both sitting at low SRs, but as you can see, their skill is almost completely unmatched to anyone else that they're up against for their opposite side. So really, Ghostly Peppers need to be trying to do everything they can to focus down on Jonas, and likewise, Capraphobia needs to make sure that they're taking Krev out of the fight as well.
Yeah, Krev has been a thorn in their side for sure, but you can't ignore the rest of the team. Not that I'm saying you have been, but I have to, in particular, applaud Trippy for constantly being there to help their team re-engage again and again. The pace at which Ghostly Peppers was playing, I felt like it was just 1.5 times the tempo the Capraphobia was, and constantly re-engaging in those fights. It just gave them more chances to win.
Yeah, and that was the interesting part of all of this, is that once we ended up seeing Ghostly Peppers transition over to the dive composition, it almost seemed like a completely different team. You know, they were trying something out, trying something new, and it wasn't working out. So they went back to the bread and butter and just were able to constantly outplay Capraphobia. But now, as we head into Temple of Anubis, our assault map for the evening, it's really going to change things up. You know, those bunker compositions are still going to be pretty effective, but it's going to be up to those attacking teams whether they choose to go with the brawl or whether they choose to go with the dive, and how dedicated those attacks are going to end up being.
And honestly, Jack, I'm feeling Ghostly Peppers going into this, mostly because of that slower paced composition that they showed us before, on a control map, no less. You almost never see it there, and that shows the confidence that they have in that style of play. So once they're put on the defense, I can't imagine what a tear they're going to be.
Yeah, they're actually going to be starting off on the assault, and based on what they're coming out with, it's rather interesting, to say the least. But it looks like Capraphobia opting for the defensive dive. Not necessarily something we usually see on a Temple of Anubis. You usually want to get a little bunkery, a little brawly, but it could work out to their advantage. The only issue is they don't have a lot of sustain when it comes to holding that objective.
They certainly don't. It looks like Waffle just going for a hook shot, but they're not seeing any available targets. Pro Gamer wisely hiding behind that cover. They're not even revealing that they have an Ash yet, and because of that, there's no one to counter the snipers on the side of Ghostly Peppers.
We will definitely see Waffle now swapping over to the Doomfist as they just, as you were saying, patience just seems to be the name of the game for Ghostly Peppers right now because they can't see where the rest of the team is. They're all hiding all over this first objective point, but as they make their way to the high ground, it looks like we're getting ready for our first fight.
And good positioning there from Trippy, blocking the slam, making sure they do not get stalled up in that hallway. Now they got a chance to cleanly engage onto the point, but they know there's a wrecking ball behind them. They know that they're about to be attacked by every angle. It's up to them to make the first move, though. And there they are, jumping down onto the point, leaving the supports up on the high ground, though. Luckily, there's a Reaper there to deter any attackers. Meanwhile, the Rhine a little bit lonely on the point. Trippy hoping for some company. Meanwhile, though, Waffle going in there onto the Zen, able to get the pick and grab that Mega Health Pack to rejoin their team, and yet they have not dealt with Pro Gamer on the high ground enough. If I've learned anything in Overwatch, is that you can never count a good Ashe down, and Jonas, not one to be ignored, already got a pick of their own. The DPS trading, getting 1-for-1, competing on the scoreboard, as only one tick is what Ghostly Peppers is going to see.
It's exactly as you said, and I almost thought that Pro Gamer was in a difficult position right there. But with Jonas being able to duplicate the Rhine, they were able to provide a lot of defense that they lost there at the beginning on the objective. And now as we kind of see this staggered composition coming in and the Coalescence Shatter coming out, being traded with the Minefield, it's going to be interesting to see how well Ghostly Peppers continue to hold with this bot.
Yeah, Capraphobia almost weren't ready for what I would call almost irrational aggression, and it's not really paying off because even though they got those intense first few kills, already the defenders are knocked off of the high ground, and that might have just fed way too much ultimate charge. Capraphobia, though, they ended up using more than they got.
Well, actually, I feel like that was in the opposite right there. Capraphobia put a lot into the defense. They were able to successfully do so, but at the end of the day, they have to be ready for the next attack. And right now, it looks like Ghostly Peppers are ready to throw everything in the kitchen sink right at Capraphobia.
Ghostly Peppers not giving Capraphobia a moment to breathe, and now a self-destruct is the only thing remaining to keep them alive. Popping the sound barrier inside the room, though, it lets them get down onto the point with half a barrier left, but now Ghostly Peppers don't have much of a defense, especially as this bomb comes in, not going to find anyone, but forces all of Ghostly Peppers in uncomfortable situations, but that's fine. They're crammed in with the rest of Capraphobia, and in the close range, they will always win it out in this brawl competition. Just Diva left on the point, but immediately going to be sure you get out of there. And that's going to be Ghostly Peppers get the first point and moving on to point B.
That was some great work there from Waffle, being able to zone out where the Mercy Ashe were dropping down to try to get a different angle, and then already sending them into that side room where probably they were going for the Mega Health Pack, but ended up spilling their Doom Fist right into them.
And well, they might be seeing some doom and gloom as the Death Blossom is being sped right into their backline, but with how voracious Krev is with these Hellfire Shotguns, they might not need it. Jonas, though, duplicates the Shatter, but you know Trippy's there to block it, and they get the charge, knocking them out of that Echo form. And even then, Echo is there to heal them back up, and Ghostly Peppers are ready for another brawl, and maybe they'll need a brawl as that Death Blossom is finally out in full display. Catches two, and Krev gets the bomb as a consolation prize as well. The bomb clears the point right as Delphi is coming out to stall, and that was their main chance of getting in there. That Transcendence isn't even going to make it to the point, booped away by Needle, and that'll be 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock for Ghostly Peppers' attack.
One of the things that really ended up working out for Ghostly Peppers is that with a brawl, you always need that speed investment. Having a Lucio, or at a very minimum a Brig, to be able to help kind of engage and disengage with that AoE healing is incredibly helpful. And as you could see, that's why they were able to get to that second point so quickly and engage with those ultimates that they still had banked up from point one. Capraphobia didn't have a chance to even get set up yet, and Ghostly Peppers were all ready and raring to go to take that objective, as we just saw, with 2 minutes 46 seconds on the clock. That's going to be a really good time to beat if Capraphobia can use this dive successfully.
And what we're seeing from Ghostly Peppers right now is a classic double shield. It's going to be tough for this dive to get through, but I like the idea of the Sombra. It gives them a win condition. The question is, how are you going to use it? Are you going to go in with a dive, or are you going to go for a big combo like a Mob Killer Bomb combined with Pro Gamer's EMP?
That is definitely going to be the question at hand to see how this is all going to get locked down. Pro Gamer is definitely going to be the linchpin and how well this works, with the double shield coming out from the defense and Krev, as you know, incredibly deadly on that Ashe. It's going to be, it's really going to be up to Pro Gamer to make sure to get those initial picks, or those initial hacks that allows the team to move into the objective.
And to be honest, my eyes are on Chi-Man right now, but Krev may be stealing the spotlight with that pick onto Jonas, stopping the push. But back to my point, Chi-Man, as the Sigma, kind of the more off-tank in this role, it's going to be up to them to try and poke around, find Pro Gamer, and prevent them from building up that EMP charge.
And it looks like Chimanzi is actually doing that, using those gravitic balls to try to see if they can zone out that Sombra before they're able to get in the backline. Delphi using that side window, which people forget you can actually do real well to get in. Big slam coming into the action.
An immaculate rollout, but they don't really get that much of a follow-up. The dive just wasn't there because their team was in the back room, but now they're finally ready to engage. But the poke war probably going to go the way of the Ghostly Peppers. Capraphobia need a way out of this small room fast. They're bottled up and being shaken and stirred. It is not looking pretty for them, but they're finally able to get out of here. It actually sees the high ground for Ghostly Peppers, and with the hack onto Chiman, they're able to just roll through the defense as Ghostly Peppers tries to stabilize on the point.
Alright, Pro Gamer with those hacks are coming in huge. Now with that hack on to Legolots, it's going to be hard for them to hold on, but it looks like they're going more offensive than defensive, trying to fight it out there on the high ground. Krev able to get that pick onto Jonas as they go ahead and continue to push them back. Waffle and many others banking up those ultimates as they prepare for the next attack.
And there are actually some switch-ups coming in from Capraphobia, getting off of that ball. Even after that amazing rollout, Delphi still wasn't able to find the real engage Capraphobia needed, so going for a more traditional dive, but with that bubble committed, they might have to wait a bit before they go.
It's like I keep telling folks, is you can understand the meta all you want, but at the end of the day, the meta doesn't matter if you don't know how to play it well, and I feel like that's what we're having here from Capraphobia, is that they're just kind of getting outclassed by the comfort picks that are coming out from the Ghostly Peppers. Pro Gamer are getting a lot of good hacks, and you know, maybe this EMP is the win condition they need.
And as they come back from spawn, this might be a do or die fight for Capraphobia, because if the EMP does not work, these amazing ultimate bank that Ghostly Pepper has assembled, it might just win them the entire round. Only a minute left. They need this EMP to be huge, or Jonas to just win the duel.
There we go. That's a great way to start. Jonas now opting for the Sigma. Great way to get things started. Coming in with the Gravitic Flex on the high ground. Ends up grabbing you. And there's the chase, looking to see if they can hold together. The immortality keeps them from dying as they hit the ground, but it looks like they're going to continue to hold on to this objective as the ticks continue to climb now. Waffle trying to see if they can re-engage. Coming in with the duplicate Winston, using the primal to try to push them off, but the Diva Bomb comes in to clear them away from the space with only seconds remaining on the clock, and they're trying to push in. Ghostly Peppers might have exactly what they need to be able to shut this down at point alpha.
And this could be game-changing right there. You saw Waffle jumped away with only a sliver of health remaining, and that meant they were able to build to the Primal Rage and stall out for the rest of their team to get a clean engage. Not just stumbling onto the point, but sitting there ready, and now they got a Bob. They got an Amplification Matrix. They got a Supercharger. All the tools they need to shut down the no ultimate push from Capraphobia. All they got is the Primal, a Pulse Bomb maybe, and a Dream.
Well, it looks like Pro Gamer on that Tracer looking to see if they can get into the back line to at least touch on the objective. The Bongos gets abandoned as well as the Amp Matrix on that high ground as Legolots able to get the follow-up on to Delphi when they dive in. Gravitic Flux coming out from Chimanzi looking to see if they can get that value, but nobody touches. And Ghostly Peppers go ahead and lock down Temple of Anubis, bringing us 2-0 in our Transcendence tier matchup.
And they are truly looking formidable going into this. I can see again why they are the favorites. It's just so much synergy. Like, I have to admire how Chimanzi was always there, helping their team survive with that gravitic grasp, or kinetic grasp rather, absorbing all that damage, making sure no harm came to their team. And in that play of the game, it was just phenomenal work from all of them. And even though there were the occasional initial picks, Ghostly Peppers, they were always ready to retreat and hold on the point instead.
Yeah, that is definitely something that Capraphobia are going to have to try to figure out going into the second half. I mean, it seems like they have some really solid strategy. Jonas is getting a lot of picks, but it just doesn't seem to be enough to turn the tide of the fight in Capraphobia's favor, or at least not for long. So we'll be back with more action here at Overwatch Tranquility in about 10 minutes. So stay tuned, and we'll see if we can bring it back after halftime.
And we are back in the Transcendence tier, and it is looking a little bit of dire straits for Capraphobia, down 0-2 underneath Ghostly Peppers, one of the favorites to win not just this game, but the entire season. And Capraphobia, they have shown some moments of brilliance, but they're going to need a lot more than that to climb their way back into this series.
Yeah, it has definitely been an upward climb for Capraphobia. They were looking really good at the beginning during their maps on Elios. You know, the dive was really solid, but we ended up just seeing that Ghostly Peppers are kind of toying around with some different compositions, you know, trying to see if they could get a lock on what's going down. You know, the more that we've kind of been learning in the background is that Capraphobia, although they participated in the preseason, have been having a lot of roster issues over the beginning couple of weeks. So even though their roster contains some well-known faces, they've been rotating in a lot of new people. Even the roster that we had for tonight's match sheet didn't even match who actually end up coming to play. So we're hoping this might be the last of that for Capraphobia. And remember, folks, it's just week one. You know, half of the teams that play tonight, they're going to lose. It's just the name of the game, you know? So that map differential always matters. Don't throw that fourth map. Be keeping your nose to the grindstone and know that, you know, how this shakes out in the end is completely up to you.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now, speaking of up to them, the choice that Capraphobia have made, they're going to King's Row. You know it, you love it. It is
Yep.
the most popular map in Overwatch history. Come on. And right now, we know it's not like a style counterpick, because everyone's comfortable in King's Row, but Capraphobia, they might just want a mental reset right here. Just trying to restabilize, rethink, replan, and hope to get a adrenaline-fueled win over Ghostly Peppers.
And that's one thing that you always have to kind of play against when you are the losing team. You have to decide, do I pick a map that my team is really good at, or do I try to pick a map that the enemy team is not good at? And, you know, King's Row obviously is going to be one of those maps that it doesn't matter. Everybody's good at it. And so you just got to try to play your heart out here. And similar to the maps that we've seen before, many different compositions work on King's Row, but the big one that we always see here is the Brawl. You know, if you go traditional Brawl, we're going to be seeing that Rhine Zarya, we're going to see that May Reaper, and that Lucio combined with either an Ana or a Zenyatta. You know, those are going to be the key elements to a really good Brawl, and it looks like we're seeing very similar compositions-ish, although it looks like on the attack, they might be opting... No, they're playing me. Why do I fall for this? Every time, why do I fall for this? But it looks like the defense is opting for the Brawl, choosing the McCree over the Reaper, and the Batiste over the Zenyatta. So you're going to have a lot more staying power, a lot more stun ability, and I think that might work out incredibly well for them.
And with Capraphobia holding us back as they are, the thing I am looking out for right now is hotel control. And no way, they're switching. There we go. There we go. That's what I was waiting for.
Honestly, with Karev, I would not have thought otherwise, to be completely honest with you. Karev is a mean mother on that Torbjorn, I tell ya.
And, well, using that Symmetra to get their team straight to the high ground and switching over to the surprise Ashe. Going for a flank of some sort, but alone, they might be a little bit vulnerable. They have to hope their team will create enough of a distraction that they'll be safe, but they're doing just fine throwing that dynamite through the hotel. Now Waffle going in for the engage, trying to finish off that slam, but the immortality field is there to save them, and Chimanzi gets frozen up, not able to escape. It looks like this May was the answer to finally shut down this Wrecking Ball. And now, with that Wrecking Ball out of the way, they're all able to go out unafraid of CC. And Ghostly Peppers, they're just sort of scattered on the high ground.
The biggest issue is this rotation is great, but it takes a lot of time to get set up, and even though Chimanzi able to get back into this objective rather quickly, BP, watch out.
Yeah, run over, smash through right there, and without that Lucio, a lot of the mobility of Capraphobia is gone. They're sitting ducks for these mobile targets as Fooligan gets stuck from behind, and Ghostly Peppers are finally seizing control of this point, forcing Capraphobia to try and hold in the streets phase as Ghostly Peppers roll the payload forward.
Yeah, with now 5 minutes on the clock, Ghostly Peppers have set themselves up really well for this defense, and the biggest issue that they're having, although they have the staying power, they have the crowd control with the McCree and the May, the hardest issue that they're having is just the pincer attack that keeps on coming in from the Ghostly Peppers, but it looks like they're just going to get super aggressive and maybe hold them at the spawn doors.
And yet, this super aggressive playstyle, it's working out for them. They are just getting pick after pick after pick, and Ghostly Peppers, it feels like they lose a couple of people, and they go, okay, we'll just keep fighting. And then they're always ahead in the ultimate economy because of it. Capraphobia, they are technically ahead right now, but that's because Ghostly Peppers just used their ultimates first point, and they already have the same ultimates back.
Ooh. Yeah, that's always an interesting position to be in, and right now, Delphi looking to see if they can get an angle right there, and they're gonna go ahead and engage with the Blizzard.
Transcendence, though, immediately there to counter it from Needle, keeping their team alive. That burst damage not going to take down anyone except them once that Transcendence expires, and now the grab looking to be used, but Ghostly Peppers, they are not afraid of it because Mob Killer is dead. Just a Lucio left on the point, and Fooligan, they will be forced out of there as well, and Capraphobia gonna move, or Ghostly Peppers gonna move on once again.
We are sitting in some really weird territory right now as we look to lock down objective 2. Some ultimates coming online that are going to be really good for an engage and disengage, but I think Trippy is going to try to utilize that group. Oh, never mind. They didn't even get there.
Yeah, Chimanzi just gives their life to knock back the entirety of Capraphobia, and you think your life for one boop isn't really that worth it, but that Shatter being committed, Delphi really wanted to get their team this fight win, and they are getting it right now. The DPS holding strong even without that shield in the way to protect them, and yet now they got to fall back behind the payload because they're dropping like flies.
That's the big one of the other issues with this composition is you have the speed that comes with the tracer and the ball getting into that back line, and you can only have a shield in one direction running the composition that they are. With 4 minutes remaining on the clock, Ghostly Peppers are really heating it up to grab objective 3.
Yeah, it's all up to this grab. They need to find a way to combo it into maybe a Blizzard, a High Noon. They got two options, but they need to find a way to burst through the Immortality field, which is key. Chimanzi, though, not looking to let them set up. Delphi already eliminated, and the early sound barrier committed just to get their team out the spawn gates. Never a good sign. Capraphobia, last hope resides within a Meg, clutching within an ice block, but it's not going to be enough. The amplification matrix runs out on the high ground, and with 3 minutes and 27 seconds, Ghostly Peppers are going to seize point 3 of King's Row, and Capraphobia, their counter pick, not looking too good for them yet.
Yeah, I think the hardest issue that they're having right now is just how absolutely fluid that it seems to be between Chimanzi and Needle right now. They're just, or sorry, Chimanzi and Krev. It just seems to be a dance of death between these two. Chimanzi comes in, runs through the team or gets a big old pile driver, and there comes Krev looking to clean up anybody that's low, or Krev throwing in the pulse bomb, and then Chimanzi runs on in and cleans up everyone that's there. So really, those two are the ones that they really need to be focusing on to take out in their backline. But when they're dedicating so many resources to try to keep the rest of the team at bay, is making it incredibly difficult for them to hold on to any objective they're trying to protect.
Yeah, and it feels like the thing where it's like they're a step ahead of them, but then all of a sudden, Ghostly Peppers is another step ahead. It felt like Chimanzi was just dominating them throughout the mid-fight the entire time for those first two maps, and they went, okay, we need to find a way to deal with this Wrecking Ball, and they did. They killed Chimanzi almost every fight. In between fights, Chimanzi spends half his time dead, and yet Ghostly Peppers are still winning, because once, like you said, all those resources committed into Chimanzi, nothing is left for the rest of the team barreling in, making up for no Wrecking Ball by being one themselves.
All right, folks. Just know that we are on a 30-minute delay, so we want to give a special thank you to Baked Potato 11 for subscribing with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much for supporting this amazing community. Looking at the defense coming in right now, they're opting still for the Sigma Ball, whereas the double shield coming in for Capraphobia, looking to see if they can lock this down. Norre, within the first 20 seconds, they've got the first hit.
And Chimanzi keeps going in, and they're immediately battered back out. Trippy almost goes down, but crucially, they survive, and they're ready for another engage. Only one tick on the board, and already almost a minefield. A massive engage tool if Chimanzi is able to get out with their life to use it. Jonas finding that pick on a needle as well. That's crucial. It's just a Baptiste now to aid in the damage doing as Ghostly Peppers, they are straggling. They're not able to get on the point, but Krev able to get that kill on a mob killer, but that might be all she wrote for point A as Capraphobia, without any ultimates, is able to seize control of point A.
So, I have to ask, Kilo, have you ever seen the movie Space Jam?
I can't say I have.
Well, you know what? There's a great song that comes from that movie, and I feel like Chimanzi's playing it. Come on, slam! And welcome to the jam! This has literally been the Chimanzi show, folks. But now, Chimanzi's swapping over to the Rhine, and that can't be good. You know, with as dominant as they have been on the ball, we got now double shield versus double shield as we go into this street space fight.
Yeah, and Chimanzi gonna have a slam of their own soon enough. Already 40% to that Earth Shatter, and with Legolot's gonna throw down that Ant Matrix soon enough, they might get a chance to use it. But Needle has to commit the Transcendence first to save everyone from this Blizzard, because there's not gonna be anyone dead, but that Shatter might change things. Chimanzi, though, able to get back off the ground, and usually no one dies. They got frozen, they got shattered, and Ghostly Peppers still stand strong, and now they're ready for the re-engage. No ultimates to mitigate the destruction of Capraphobia, and Ghostly Peppers, I do not know how they survived that.
It all comes down to synergy, Kilo. It's exactly as we've been saying all night. Needle popping the Transcendence when the Blizzard comes in. Trippy rocking out the Deadeye of Jonas in the middle of that Blizzard. And then Legolot's investing the Immortality Field as their last-ditch effort to get everybody healed up and back into the action. They were just able to put all the pieces so close together that Capraphobia just had nothing to stand against. But now they're coming in with some ultimates of their own, and they might be able to turn the tide.
The optimistic slam from Chimanzi isn't going to find anything, but they didn't really need it. They just need to avoid this Gravitic Flux, but going to catch the entire backline. The support's not able to survive. Both of them down to the hands of Mob Killer, but firing back with some kicks of their own. That Bob stalling out this push, and the Pulse Bomb is massive. Even with no support, no extra health, they are fearless. Ghostly Peppers seizing control of their point. Only 3 minutes left to continue pushing for Capraphobia.
This team has become a well-oiled machine. Rev being super deadly, as well as Waffle just getting constantly in that back line. But now we're getting ready for the next engage, and we got some support ultimates getting ready to come online.
Yeah, even with a support ultimate on the side of Capraphobia, who's going to be around to benefit from it? There's no front line whatsoever. The tanks are in spawn. Somehow they are getting picked through their supports, through their shields. They are not able to sustain through this aggression, and now look at this aggressive hold. They're ready to speed out right onto them, but that charge might pay for it with their life as the Blizzard gets thrown down right onto Chimanzi, gonna be taken out. No Rhine in play for Ghostly Peppers. This is Capraphobia's big chance, and they're capitalizing, but Trippy is there with the Gravitic Flux, and it's followed up upon. They don't need Chimanzi. They are there to take the point for their own.
Again, it's just a stagger of ultimates right there, and you know, I love to remind people of this, but just because you open the garage door doesn't mean that people ain't gonna shoot back at you. That's exactly what happened to the Ghostly Peppers. Neil popping the Transcendence, everybody was still healed after the Blizzard came out. Actually, most of them weren't even in the Blizzard, so it just kept them up. As they opened up the garage door, they didn't even need a main shield to hold on, and now here's coming some slam.
half of the Ghostly Peppers went for a high ground flank and abandoned Waffles and Chamanzi on the point. Now they don't have any shield to block the shatter, and it's a 4v6 right now. And Jonas, they are happy to capitalize on this opportunity with the high noon, gonna clean up the stragglers. That was a very optimistic strategy right there from Ghostly Peppers, almost a bit of a BM.
Almost. I would say that Ghostly Peppers has been showing tonight that they're trying to see what they can get away with. Obviously, you want to have a little fun while you're playing with some strategy, and you know what? With only a minute on the clock to still lockdown point 2, I think they're sitting in a pretty good condition.
And with Bob stalling out the point, they buy Chamanzi some time to back away, get some heals, and the sound barrier already burned away from Wills. Jonas able to find the pick onto Waffles, but that's really the only victory afforded to them. Ghostly Peppers, they're fading away fast. They got a pulse bomb, and we've seen Waffle do miracles with that before, but that relies on the rest of their team to hold on the point, and that doesn't look too likely to me. As Capraphobia, with only 2 minutes on the clock, gets into point 3. They have a chance to stay in this game.
Yeah, this is really their final opportunity to be able to lock this down. As I said, map differential matters, but you still want those victories on your side, folks. So start blowing up that chat. You want to see that beep reverse sweep coming out right now from Capraphobia, or is Ghostly Peppers just going to make things too hot for them to handle and lock it down here? Waffle Man looking to get into that backline. I feel the pulse bomb in the air.
But that shatter, it's not going to be big enough, but Trivia is still going to go down anyways. Now this obstruct goes into the backline, or pulse bomb rather, not going to find anything, but this coalescence not able to sustain Chumanzi. The focus fire was that great from Capraphobia, and this is it. This is what we were waiting for. They only have a Critic Flux and a Shatter left, but they have a Dream, and they're looking to use it.
Alright, and Jonas is just absolutely a mad lad on that McCree right now. Gravitic Flux coming out from Trippy, trying to see if they can hold on to this objective as long as possible. Chamanzi now back in the fight. There's a three-man shatter coming in as Waffle now back in on the Doomfist, ends up grabbing the double kill off of that shatter with only 50 seconds remaining on the clock, and Lil's using the beat to get them out of there. I'd say they're not in good shape to take this final objective.
And this is not looking good. They had a lot of momentum right there, but now it's all torn away. Mob Killer is their last hope. They need to get into the supports again. They don't really have a damage mitigation. Oh, Ghostly Peppers, they don't even have an Immortality field, but there's a lot of aggression with the Moira and Ana. They're looking to use it. The Gravitic Flux is going to be the first Q push going into the backline, but Waffle has already found Jonas. They need more. They need it now, and with both DPS going down on the side of Ghostly Peppers, Capraphobia have their opportunity, but Delphi goes down. That is crucial as Chamanzi. They will be traded back. It is an equal fight, but you don't want to have 3 people on the cart pushing it in against spawn advantage, especially with Bob there to play, as they're getting rocketed up into the air. Mob Killer has to back away from the point, but they have to go back. They have to keep overtime ticking. Otherwise, this is their game life. The series will be over if they step off this payload without getting it to the end. And Jonas taking care of that stalling wrecking ball. The spin to win will not happen this time. As overtime, it gets faster and faster. You do not want to get off the cart for a second. Chamanzi back in the fray. And with that anti-grenade finding the main tank, Capraphobia knocked out of this tournament as Ghostly Peppers with the 3-0 over them.
Well, not knocked out.
Yeah.
They're all right. But the week 1 victory is now out of their reach, unfortunately. But remember, map differential matters. So Capraphobia was putting up much more of a fight against Ghostly Peppers than we've seen in the previous 2 maps. So for them to be able to bring this back is absolutely a possibility. Even that 1 point can change how things shake out going into stage 2. So Capraphobia, don't give up just yet. And even if you don't end up getting it this time around, there's still much, much more Overwatch to be played. This season is 2 months plus long. Folks, there is so much that can happen during that time. So please, if things did not turn out the way that you would like for your team, be sure to continue to hone that skill and keep it going. So, go ahead.
You gotta remember, Capraphobia, like we said, finished forming yesterday. So if they're putting up this good of a fight now, getting all the way to the last point against Ghostly Peppers, once they get some practice in, they have a serious shot in the run back if it ever comes. So Ghostly Peppers, they are going to go to this 4th map chosen by Capraphobia, but it's going to be tough for them in this last map from what we saw on King's Row.
Yeah, it was just incredibly close for them. Capraphobia had everything that they needed to be able to shut that down during that final fight. But I think it's just as you were saying, Kilo, it's all about target focus, and Ghostly Peppers almost got like a laser sight on all of them. As soon as one of them calls them out, it's just immediately on them. As we talked about in the pregame show, Chimanzi and Needle not only are a casting duo that is very homed here in Tranquility, but they are also co-shot callers on the Ghostly Peppers. So when you have two great players, one of your main tanks and one of your main supports calling out from all different angles, it's almost like you have eyes everywhere at that point. And it's just really working out for Ghostly Peppers. But once again, I know that Capraphobia can try to bring this back for at least one victory tonight as we head, it looks like, to Havana. I thought I saw. Yeah. Booth, you getting me? You baited me, man. Oh, man. Oh, no.
So excited to go to Venice, but instead, another sniper-favored map. Havana is going to be a chance for some more pop-off plays. If you really want to play an Echo Ash style, really just try and play to your DPS's strengths, this is the place to do it. A place where you might just outskill them based on picks alone. Capraphobia certainly have a chance to win these fights here and now.
All right, well, as the teams are getting ready to go, we want to remind you, as always, if it's your first time here at the Overwatch Tranquility community, welcome. You can help support us by hitting that heart, punching that bell so you get notified every time we're online. You can also hit that sub button, $4.99, or Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime sub. We'll give you access to some amazing emotes made by our community, as well as supporting said community. Be sure to channel in those channel points. We have got some amazing giveaways coming up in the next week for the Iris podcast. You do not want to miss it. The main prize being a $100 Amazon gift card, and that's all because of your support.
We really appreciate that support now here at Tranquility and Capraphobia. They need your support here and now as well as they're running this double sniper composition, so make sure to be cheering for some picks, some headshots from Capraphobia as they're looking to steal those heads away from Ghostly Peppers.
Yeah, this is a key to Widow's bowling alley, because every pick that you can get is going to work out in your favor. The defense trying to utilize that as much as possible, but the double shield is just not allowing it, as you see Waffle almost losing their head right there. But the payload has already made its way to the end of the bowling alley, so they might be out of the woods, at least for a moment.
And Jonas getting that pick, the Hanzo taking out the Pharah. What every Hanzo claims they're gonna do when they say, nah, I got this Pharah. And well, Jonas has proven just that. On the Echo, on the Hanzo, their projectile DPS is nothing to be knocked right now as the Widowmaker duel goes on through these corridors and the dive goes out onto the top. Delphi on the low ground for the team.
Yeah, this double bubble composition is definitely working out interestingly, and also it looks like we got some flexing going on with Rev opting for the main tank, going for the Widow while Chimanzi takes over the skies as the Pharah. Unfortunately, doesn't look like Jonas is too keen of letting Chimanzi being able to live, though.
Another one from them. Luckily, Pro Gamer gonna be shut down now by Waffle as Ghostly Peppers gonna secure the first point. The double bubble had trouble getting in, but once they were there, it was hard to evict them from the backline.
Beautiful halt right there from Delphi, being able to shut down Waffle before they were able to get that oath shot in. And now that they are inside the distillery, this is going to set them up for prime positioning. With that ceiling, it's going to be hard for Chimanzi to get the value that they're looking for, or maybe it will provide them some extra protection as the barrage comes out, grabbing two.
And that is crucial. Both supports eliminated right there, gone right out the gate. And that means the whole team just has to run for the hills, and while they're retreating, they're wide open to get picked off. You saw they were going for the duel, and Jumanji just interrupts it. Doesn't care about a classic Wild West standoff.
Well, like we said, those two are always working together, and I just felt like Chimanzi was just trying to give Needle a heads up there. It's like, okay, one-on-one, there you go, but no, this ends up taking it away from them. Unfortunate. This grab comes into use.
Yeah, but the Immortality Field is there to give Capraphobia a second life in this point. As they go in, they got the Transcendence on the back burner if they really need it, and they're going to use it to engage as well. Both support ultimates gone, and they're using it to great effect. Jonas and Pro Gamer helping their team to lock down the point, as the rest of Ghostly Pepper's going to retreat, but oh no, don't do it. They're waiting.
Got some sneakers.
But no one's on point. Oh, Baptiste going up to the high ground. They're waiting. They're not going to make it. With a 1 meter.
So close. Use it, trying to get the back cap in there, but I gotta tell you right now, if Ghostly Peppers pulls this back, then they have got some amazing skill coming in. The Primal getting popped out by Krev as they end up grabbing Jonas, but it seems like that's about all they're going to be able to get as they continue to hold on. 3 minutes remaining on the clock as Delphi just trying to survive, but that Tesla cannon is not going to allow them to do so. Waffle now chasing down Jonas as Fooligan able to grab that double kill and just go ahead and lock down this objective once again for Capraphobia.
That was looking all Ghostly Pepper's game right there. It looked like everyone broke their high ground position in Capraphobia. They were scattered on the point. They were falling left and right, and Fooligan rolled up their sleeves and said, okay, time for the support to do what the DPS apparently couldn't.
What was that from Karev, by the way? Mid-air Winston 820 dance or whatever. Like, goodness gracious. Got rocked out regardless. Again, what are these strats coming out? Here comes the Valkyrie, the battle Valkyrie meter. Gets caught in the gravitic flux, and Mob Killer takes it right out. It was a good try there, Needle, but unfortunately, it's going to be just enough as the rest of the team pushes into objective 2. 3 minutes 15 seconds on the clock. Oh my goodness.
Now, as a main tank aficionado myself, I do have to say, Krev is actually doing something incredibly intelligent, knowing that you gotta respect Pro Gamer sightlines. They are spinning to wing to avoid any headshots on their engage.
So the Mercy Wiggle adapted to the main tank, I see. All right. It just looks much weirder than the Mercy Wiggle, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta admit right there. Spinning monkey, sometimes you just want to rotate, you know? But Krev doesn't need to this time, jumping back to their team to safety as they are running over this defense. Yet Waffle will go down, and that's a big stick, but it's not gonna land home as the healing is there to keep tripping in this fight. The grab did go down there, and they're able to use it to get rid of Mob Killer. Meanwhile, on the point, it's just really tough for them to get these kills, but finally, even though they have to respect the Animatrix, Ghostly Peppers rolls on.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that they're having right now is the fact that, you know, they have Pro Gamer on the Widow, but you don't have a lot of escape capability with that Widow. I feel like switching either over to a McCree or the Ash or the Soldier would provide a lot more of taking Chimanzi and Needle out of the sky, but Bongo's there to engage. Oh, maybe not.
But the Nano Monkey did provide a significant chunk of damage, but once it's gone and the Discord is on Krev, there's no way they're surviving that. Ghostly Peppers are just targets for Fooligan. The 3K for the Zenyatta, doing just as much damage as their DPS. Are they really not the one with JJ in their name? Because they're looking a little bit like Jonak right now.
I mean, I'm really starting to feel it from Fooligan right there. But I think it's more just who's close to the action. It looks like Pro Gamer somehow being able to hear me through the ether ends up swapping over to the McCree is going to be keeping a really good lock on that Pharah Mercy. As you know, with the recent patches, Chimanzi on that Pharah has been a little bit more difficult to keep in the air. So as long as you can get those initial picks, it'll work out well for you. But with those ultimates getting ready to come online for either side, Fooligan with another pick. It looks like Ghostly Peppers are going to have to halt for just another few moments.
Yeah, but with the Resurrect, they do have a chance to engage, especially with Valkyrie up. You want to utilize that damage boost as best you can. You can see Chimanzi, they want to get this barrage so bad, but you know Pro Gamer is ready to shut it down at their earliest convenience. And speaking of shut down, Waffle's out of there as well. Mob Killer engaging with this Gravitic Flux, catches Zarya, Trippy. Their bubble breaks right as they land, and now without that linchpin to hold them together, Ghostly Peppers, they're crumbling. Most support's down next.
All right, Jonas looking to get into that backline, which could actually work out well for them. Actually, they had a good opportunity there for Chimanzi, just barely away. Jonas is going to be one to eat that a little bit later and ends up paying for it by not taking out Chimanzi early. And now the Deadeye coming out with the Amp Matrix, just zoning at this point, but we'll end up getting the pick onto Trippy to start things off.
Trippy threw the grab over the top, but that might just be what Capraphobia needs, because in overtime, there's only 3 members of Ghostly Peppers remaining. One of them is a Mercy, but who are you going to res? There is no place safe to press that E, as overtime is ticking away, and for the first time, Ghostly Peppers have not finished a map. Big opportunity right here for them to hold on all the way. Capraphobia gonna get a point on the board yet.
Switching sides.
It definitely is possible for them to go ahead and bring this back, but I gotta tell you, some of these scenes that I've been watching from the Ghostly Peppers makes me feel like they're just out here to have fun at this point, rather than trying to win this map. Because you know, we're seeing the Glock pulled out a lot more often. We're seeing some really cheeky angles, and you know, it just seems like the Ghostly Peppers, you know, are in it to win it, but still gonna look to be a little bit more playful on this final map. But regardless of being playful, they still pushed it all the way to, you know, within 10 meters of that final point, and it looks like they're gonna try to lock it down with the double shield once again, with Krev going back to the DPS, gonna be coming out on that Hanzo, and Waffleman opting for the Junkrat this time around.
Yeah, and a lot of zoning projectiles right here, especially the Junkrat, as you said, gonna roll the grenades right down the alley, or maybe not fighting the alley altogether, going for the very frontal hold right here. And I don't think Capraphobia see it coming with these DPS picks they got coming out.
Alright, well, they have definitely got some advantage on them, and the advantage is range, but no range to be had when you already see Ghostly Peppers holding them at the spawn doors.
Yeah, Pro Gamer barely able to get back inside. They're playing safe as best they can, but this is gonna be a lot of time burned off the clock unless Capraphobia pull out a big play. Now, they cannot wait for ultimates here. They can't even play a slow fight like you would normally see the attackers. Instead, it's the attackers who are just bottled up, and that charge Mob Killer went outside of spawn, and they were immediately eliminated.
Yeah, I think it's all about the angles on this one. There are 3 exits out of this objective, and I gotta say, they can't get to all of them. They don't have the speed to be able to get from point to point to point, so it's really going to be up to Capraphobia to choose which exit is going to be the most advantageous for them. But as ultimates start coming online for the Ghostly Peppers, they are in a very bad position to hold it off. It looks like they're going for the long one.
And with the Nano Boost going out as well onto Chimanzi, this might just be a waiter out situation. Especially as Pro Gamer gets that pick. No Resurrect available, so it is 5v6 for a while now against Capraphobia.
It's a good position for them to be in, and I hope that they realize that they can make that happen. But that Junkrat is still incredibly deadly at close range, as you see. Waffleman getting ready to get that tire online. Just every grenade, despite not having a real focused fire, does have a destination, and it always finds it somewhere. But no, there's the escape. Capraphobia is free, and that payload's going to start moving with only 2 minutes left on the clock.
And now they're only just rounding the corner as Capraphobia, as Ghostly Peppers get ready to re-engage, but look at the amazing bank of ultimates Capraphobia built up. The discipline to hold on to that through. Like, you're frustrated. You want to break through. You want to just wipe out these interlopers in your spawn. But Capraphobia hold on, and now they got the Valkyrie to push in with the dragons. Big old deadly Maywall, more or less, and a pair of opposing dragons to boot.
All right, we see the tire now coming out from Waffle Man, looking to see if they can grab some value with it. Doesn't look like they're going to end up grabbing anything, as Rev able to get that pick onto Pro Gamer. The anti-nade goes in, looking to grab some value. Grabs nothing but shield, though, and there it comes. The Nano looking to see if Jumanji can grab some value, make some space, but Mob Killer with the double kill and the follow-up right there onto Jumanji. I think this is going to be point one for Capraphobia.
Certainly is, and I gotta commend Capraphobia for that combination. You got the supercharger, you got the mercy damage boost, and together you've got more or less a bootleg one shot from Mob Killer to cleave through any of the defense that Ghostly Peppers was putting up.
Right, Pro looking to try to see if they can get on that high ground, but Ghostly Peppers already taking advantage of that space. Waffle Man opting back over to the Tracer to see if they can get some of that pulse bomb value that we've been seeing before. But it looks like the window has been open as the fight engages.
That window holding strong, but Ghostly Peppers, they're not going to get much value out of it as Capraphobia just holding on. They don't need to commit into that. They're just hanging out. But with both DPS going down right there through that burst damage, there's not a lot they can do to stabilize Capraphobia. There's no deterrent. The Ghostly Peppers can run in without any fear of death. Faith in their supports lets them be as aggressive as they please.
Well, maybe Chimanzi should have had a little bit of fear right there. Ended up getting taken out of the fight, but might be able to get back in time. But spawn advantage heavily favors the side of Capraphobia as they get ready to re-engage here. With only 2 minutes left on the clock, they gotta figure out a way to get Ghostly Peppers dead on that high ground rather than waiting for them to drop down.
Well, it's going to be harder to evict them right now as the dragons cover the escape, force all of Capraphobia back onto the low ground. Yeah, finally getting another chance to engage now, but Waffle is in the back with the pulse bomb. Not going to quite connect this time, but it did displace Delphi for a little bit. Opener right there, but not able to capitalize off of it. And Mob Killer, they're waiting. They're salivating at the thought of them dropping down so they can get a shatter, but they're not going to be able to just yet. You know there are double shields in the way, and especially with this Nanorine there, but Chimanzi was there. They were ready for that shatter. They knew it was too juicy to pass up, and they blocked it, and now that was the big opener for Capraphobia. The barrage is going to get 2 kills, but it's too late in the fight to really matter.
Yeah, unfortunately, like you said, it was too late there, and even just seeing Needle give their life after the immortality field went down, there's still a lot of life left in the Ghostly Peppers, and the closer it gets to objective 2, the more it goes into Ghostly Peppers' favor, and if they're doing well now, just wait.
That immortality field on the high ground. Ghostly Peppers stabilizing inside this amplification matrix, and the double damage does give them a pick onto the main tank. Huge opportunity right here, but they're still bottled up, still trapped. They don't have a lot of sight lines to work from. The DPS got to get out there, got to frolic, and Chimanzi off the high road, slamming down. But that immortality field is there to save the team, and now this is looking a little bit scary for them. Only a supercharger and a nano boost. No, I say only, still very powerful, letting them pressure down to the main tank, and yet they're there. Mob Killer is able to win the duel against Chimanzi with the help of their team, and even though Krev gets a pick onto Jonas, that's not going to be enough to win the fight full out. Mob Killer with the shatter, there's no one to block it, no tank there whatsoever, but this amplification matrix out once again for the second time this fight, and the pulse bomb, it's massive, and with only 2 seconds on the clock, that could be the the finisher. There's no one left to touch the point, and even though Capraphobia, it looked like they had everything, it was all stolen away in the blink of an eye, as it's going to be a 4-0 for Ghostly Peppers. They're going to be winning out in that map differential.
Tell you what, folks, this score just does not do how these maps win justice. Absolutely not. because both of these teams gave it to their. That still is odd to watch, but just these teams have done an incredible job tonight. Obviously, Capraphobia was already at a disadvantage coming into this, having a hard time locking down their roster, whereas Ghostly Peppers, this is essentially their second season together. So they are well practiced. They know exactly how to read one another, and it paid off in dividends, even when it seemed like they weren't really playing it all too impressive, as we saw Chamanzi. Solo Shatter, really? Really? It's still fun to get though.
Yeah.
I'm a Rhine man. I know. It's good to get sometimes.
Sometimes you gotta go for that. If there's no opportunity, if there's too many shields in the way, just push the button. See what happens. And there it is. Boom. And
Beautiful.
look, the
That's the
Immortality Field catches it anyways. It didn't even get a kill.
Ripperoni. But yeah, what we're seeing from Ghostly Peppers is just a lot of great practice, a lot of, them working together, and, you'll be able to catch up with us later, chat, but we're going to go ahead and give you our player of the matches for tonight. Kilo, I'll go ahead and let you start us off. Who have you been keeping your eye on tonight? Who's been the one that really stands out amongst the rest?
Well, I gotta go for a name we haven't said all too much, and that is kind of disappointing because besides just being their captain, Needle has also been a phenomenal support throughout this entire thing. And this hyper aggressive playstyle that they've been playing, you gotta look at who's letting them play that way. And it's gonna be Needle back there, keeping the whole team alive as they go through their shenanigans.
That is absolutely true. And I think although we've been saying a lot about Chamanzi and Krev and Waffle Man, I got to give some tank love to Mr. Trippy Cow, playing on that off tank role or playing on the main tank sometimes, depending on who was in what position. Being able to create that space or utilize the space that Chamanzi was putting out there was really doing a great job of kind of filling the roles, keeping their teams protected, and taking advantage of those picks. So, folks, that's going to bring us to the end of our evening. Once again, that's Ghostly Peppers taking it 4-0 over Capraphobia, but we've got much, much more Overwatch action coming up for you. Tomorrow night, we're going to be seeing, actually, crap, we gotta fix that because that is not correct. I completely forgot. We ended up seeing Calamatus drop out today, so that is gotta be changed. We do have the updated one. It is Q for Quarantine versus the Soul Cyberpunks. Gonna be bringing it out tomorrow night in the Discord tier for our first feature match of week 1 for them. And then coming in next week, as always, we have our Wednesday night feature or our Monday night features of the Iris podcast. Got a lot of new faces coming in this week, so you better be sure to tune in. As well as next Tuesday is going to be back in the Harmony tier with Firefight versus Modify. And then we're waiting to see who will face Dirt for the Transcendence tier match coming up next Wednesday. So be sure, hit that heart, punch that bell, hit that subscribe button if you absolutely can. But nevertheless, any of those will give you notifications that we're online, and that schedule won't even matter. As you probably have noticed as well, the Beat Drop has already come back with our first episode already being on YouTube with the Discord tier Blizzard Bears. Our next episode going to premiere tomorrow night over at youtube.com/OW Tranquility with another amazing Discord tier. So be sure to check that out after tomorrow's feature match. So I think that's about all we've got. I'm going to throw it back over to Kilo one last time to see if you got anything else to add.
Just that I have been Kilo Miles casting with, you know him, you love him, Captain Jack with Booth on production. Thank you all for watching tonight, and take it easy.
You don't need an invitation. I already know what you're saying. I love little conversations. And I don't want you to go changing. Cause girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. I hope that you just feel it all too. Cause girl, you're comfortable and let's go. Feel so good just when I roll through. And I just think it's so crazy what you do to me. Girl, you're the baddest thing, you know it. And I really need you to show it. So turn around, let me get you on the cold air. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Cause girl, you're just so. Girl, I love a situation. We don't spend time hesitating. And I wouldn't say we're crazy in love. I would just say we're crazy enough. Cause girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Girl, you're just so comfortable. I hope that you just feel it all too. Cause girl, you're comfortable and let's go. Feel so good just when I roll through. And I just think it's so crazy what you do to me. Girl, you're the baddest thing, you know it. And I really need you to show it. So turn around, let me get you on the cold air. Girl, you're just so comfortable. Cause girl, you're just so. We ain't gotta slow it down. Jeans on when we hit the town. We don't really care who's around. But baby, I'm with you if you gon' be down. Cause girl, you're just so comfortable.